Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 10.
There's good news and not so good news in the weather tonight. The good news is that temperatures are higher than they were last night.
The not so good news, there's snow in the near future, and for some, it could pile up. Let's get the latest so that you'll know what to expect tomorrow morning when you wake up. Hutch?
Thanks so much, Andrea. Thanks, Mike. It does look like the snow is beginning lightly here in the FM area, but that hasn't taken long to really cause those roads to glisten. It is slippery out there. Here's a look at temperatures. As you mentioned, warmer tonight. 10 above in Fargo right now. Some teens just to our south. Right now, the snow we're seeing very light as it's pushing in from the south, but the forecast shows overnight we'll see the aerial coverage of the snow really spread, particularly from the southern valley into southern Minnesota. The Twin Cities already closing schools for their day. That's where things will be the heaviest, but many in our southern and southeastern counties will have shovel trouble. Now, here's what you need to know first thing in the morning. Expect about an inch on the ground in the FM area. Down in the southern valley and southern lakes country, a couple of inches will be possible for that morning commute. I'll tell you how much piles up by the end of the day here in just a few moments.
That's what we need to know. Thanks, Hutch.
You bet.
We have some breaking news out of South Fargo where traffic should be flowing again soon after a crash along 52nd Avenue South. The eastbound lane near 42nd Street has been shut down for a short time while crews are cleaning up. We're told that 2 of 3 vehicles have been cleaned up. The third vehicle is now being moved out of the way. One of the drivers of one of the vehicles had a minor shoulder injury, we're told. No word on what led to that crash.
We are learning more tonight about the officer-involved shooting near Arvilla, North Dakota on Sunday. Authorities released the names of the man and the 2 deputies involved. Valley News Team's Katie Opperly did some digging to find out more about the man who was shot in the incident. She joins us now in the studio with the details. Katie, what did you learn?
Mike, Andrea, the man from Sunday's shooting is 34-year-old Travis Holt. Reports indicate that he pointed a gun at deputies. Holt was then shot and injured. I began looking into exactly who Travis Holt is by looking through court records. Quickly, I realized that Holt has a long history in both North Dakota and Minnesota. In fact, records go all the way back to a charge where Holt was in possession of a firearm before the age of 18. Something of note, Holt has had multiple assault and domestic cases filed against him, with 24 criminal documents filed. One case that caught my eye is a dismissed attempted murder charge from 2010, where he was convicted of assault with a dangerous weapon. Reports say that he admitted to stabbing a man in Crookston, claiming it was to protect his sister. One of the more recent assault charges was in 2017, where documents say he struck and strangled his sister. The latest charge on Holt's record is an assault in June of 2018. Mike?
All right, thanks, Katie. Holt was taken to a Twin Cities hospital, and count on getting new updates here on Valley News Live as this investigation continues.
A Grand Forks man is facing 10 counts of possession of child pornography after admitting to police that he downloaded several inappropriate images containing children. Court records state that several electronic devices were seized at the home of 23-year-old Carl Lindloff. Detectives say they found things like screenshots of young girls performing sexual acts on adult men. The children range in age from 2 to 14.
Pushed, kicked, and punched. A Fargo mom says that's what a teacher did to her son with special needs at Washington Elementary.
I did see the video of what happened. When he pushed her, he immediately ran away, and then she followed him, and it did look like she kind of pulled his jacket, kind of yoked him up, and then pushed him against the wall. And then you can see the legs moving, and it doesn't really look like she was defending herself. It looked more like she was kicking him. So it does look like she did physically abuse him.
The mom added that while her son was also physical with his teacher, the teacher had options, and as an adult, she should have used them. A spokesperson for Fargo Schools confirms that the matter is being investigated and the teacher is on administrative leave. And if you need help with an issue in your community, here's some advice. Call our whistleblower hotline. The phone number is on your screen, 701-237-6576. Call that number, leave your tip. A member of our team will get on the case and go to work to find the truth.
Minnesota Governor Tim Walz rolled out a $49 billion budget for the next 2 years, and it includes a hefty permanent boost in state aid to schools. It also puts money into beefing up security at state prisons. But the governor also is pitching a 20-cent per gallon gas tax increase to try to tackle an $18 billion funding gap in roads and bridges. That would take the state gas tax from 28 cents a gallon to 48 cents a gallon by the year 2023.
This uncontrolled spending will give Minnesota the reputation of being cold California.
And right now we have a $1.5 billion surplus. So I'm interested in why we think we have to raise taxes on Minnesotans when we're already collecting more than we need.
One senator suggested the state could save 10% merely by trying harder to root out fraud and waste in state agencies.
New battle lines are being drawn in the 2020 race for president as lawsuits fly over the wall. An issue the president is already raising on the trail.
And the president getting a familiar new opponent tonight, officially vying to take him on. Here's Hallie Jackson.
Circuit because it's an open and closed case.
A confident commander-in-chief tonight predicting victory in the legal battle over his national emergency declaration.
And I think we'll do very well. We have absolute right to do that.
But 16 states argue otherwise, filing a lawsuit overnight to stop the president from redirecting $3.6 billion in military construction funds to pay for the border wall he wants. Almost all those states have Democratic governors.
It was politics.
Does politics play a part in this?
No, I mean, the states have to be the firewall to stop this president from running roughshod and blowing past Congress and running roughshod over our way of life.
Protests across the country highlight how much of a political flashpoint the immigration debate has become and will remain into 2020, with a new contender getting into the race, like he did in 2016. Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders, a self-described Democratic socialist, is announcing he will take his fight to President Trump.
We have a president who is a racist, who is a sexist, who is a xenophobe.
A challenge for Sanders. In 2020, he isn't the only one pushing progressive policies like Medicare for all and free public college.
All of those ideas and many more are now part of the political mainstream.
So you're saying the party came your way?
Well, I don't want to say that. I think most people would say that.
President Trump wishing Sanders well.
You got a lot of people running, but only one person's going to win. I hope you know who that person is.
Minnesota joined that lawsuit yesterday. The state's attorney general, Keith Ellison, says the president declaring a national emergency for the border wall is an improper use of presidential authority and has political goals.
No matter what people think about that particular goal of his, it violates separation of powers doctrine. It penalizes states who've made plans for the money that's already been appropriated, and it's improper use of his authority.
Ellison says emergency declarations have been invoked properly in the state for disasters like tornadoes and floods, but he says never before has somebody done this for political purposes and political gain.
Rising health insurance costs could be coming down in North Dakota. The House passed a bill to create a reinsurance pool, trying to get the individual market prices back under control and keep people insured. Now, here's what this means for you. If a person buys his or her own health insurance, no one will know if they're in this pool. That would be handled between the state and insurance companies. Creating the pool is expected to reduce costs on the individual market by 20%. North Dakota's insurance commissioner says he believes more people will end up insured, and adding more on what he called good risk to the pool could further lower prices.
Our analysis predicts about another 1% would get back into the marketplace. So it's not the silver bullet by any means to solving the problem, but what it does do is hopefully stabilize that marketplace.
Gottfried adds that under the framework of the Affordable Care Act, it's the most the state can do to rein in costs.
House lawmakers in North Dakota have rejected the red flag gun seizure bill. The bill would allow a judge to order guns temporarily seized if police or family members believe a person is a danger to themselves or others. It was backed by the Fargo and West Fargo police chiefs. Representative Carla Rose Hansen of Fargo says the bill would help prevent suicides and has national support, but others disagreed.
The data's in. It shows that it doesn't help with suicides and homicides, this type of gun control. But yet they still keep going at it as though they found the answer if only we would just pass more gun restrictions. So no, it's always a no.
President Trump has endorsed this and has encouraged all 50 states to enact this legislation at the state level. So it's certainly not a partisan issue. It's a common sense regulation to ensure public safety.
13 other states already have a similar law on the books.